คุณนักดูว่าคิว
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
The only question would be the camera. The camera will pick us up, right? And might be fun.
Hello.
Oh, I got it. Working. That's awesome.
I think we can start now.
Oh, right. Okay, here we go.
The camera ready?
All right, excellent. Well, I guess we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed our time working with Better Vision and are really excited to share what we've learned during our time in Thailand so far. So thanks so much for joining for our final presentation. As a quick agenda, we'd love to quickly...
Sorry,
Yes.
Do you want to speak slower a little bit?
Yes.
For us to easier to
No,
understand?
no problem. Yeah, sorry about that. So for today, we'd love to briefly introduce ourselves and then talk through a little bit the overall summary of what we found and sort of our approach and methodology for our time we've had in Thailand. Then we'd love to talk through the customer insights. So we've talked to a large number of customers of both Better Vision and other eyeglass stores while in Thailand, and we'd love to share what we've heard from those interviews. And then we brainstormed some ideas about things that we think Better Vision can do, particularly to attract millennial customers. And we'd love to share those ideas with you, and as well as get your feedback on them. And I would definitely say we would love to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have questions throughout about the things we're saying, the things we found, about our ideas, definitely let us know, and we would love to answer your questions and be interactive. So to start off, we'd love to quickly introduce ourselves. We are all first-year Harvard Business School students. All Harvard Business School students at the end of their first year get to go to a different foreign country and work on a project for about a week with a local company in that country. We were very lucky to get to go to Thailand and to be paired with Better Vision. The five of us had sort of a range of backgrounds before school, some finance, some consulting, some medicine, etc. But we really felt very fortunate to be able to get Better Vision as our end of first year project. And unfortunately, none of our professional photos had us in glasses, so we decided, in the spirit of the project, maybe better to add some. As a high-level executive summary of some of the things we found during our time in Thailand, we'll go through all of this in much more detail throughout the presentation. But our overall focus was on improving the experience for millennial customers to attract more millennial customers for Better Vision. So as part of that, we talked to a lot of millennial customers to get a sense of what they like and don't like about both Better Vision and the broader process of buying eyeglasses in Thailand. We think, first of all, there are a lot of things that Better Vision really does right. I think we've heard a lot of positive feedback about the service and sort of the expertise of the Better Vision staff once you walk into a Better Vision store. But that said, we also identified some pain points and some areas for improvement. We think the Better Vision brand is seen as a little bit older-fashioned among some of the younger Thai consumers. We think there's an opportunity to sort of shake up that brand and attract some younger customers. And we really also heard some pain points around the difficulty of selecting which retailer to go to, and then once you're inside the retailer, selecting which pair of glasses to buy among the many options. And so we think there are opportunities to improve both of those things to attract more younger customers. And sort of based on these insights, we spent some time brainstorming to try to come up with ideas that will attract more millennial customers. And our lead idea, which we would love to share in detail in a little bit, involves having like a light-up display that allows people to see, especially younger customers, the pairs of glasses that are most appealing to them, and then photograph themselves in those glasses and share on social media as a sort of fun shopping interaction that will both make it easier to shop for glasses as well as be a fun in-store experience that could attract younger customers. And we'd love to share that in greater detail. And then we've had some secondary ideas as well that we'd love to talk through, also designed towards the millennial customer. So we'll dive into all of this into greater detail. But before I do, I'll pause quickly. Any questions before we go into more detail? Good. All right. Excellent. So as a quick reminder of our scope up front, so I would say we had really 4 goals going into the project. One is to visit a lot of different Better Vision stores to get a good sense of what Better Vision's offering is like today. The second is to interview customers, and particularly millennial customers, of both Better Vision and other optical retailers, to develop insights on how they think, what they like about the eyeglass buying process now, what they think maybe could be improved, etc. Third then was to brainstorm potential changes to the shopping experience to attract those customers. And then fourth was to spend some time testing those potential ideas to see if customers would be interested. And during all of this, we've really focused on in-store experience. I think especially in light of the classic initiative that Better Vision is involved with, we really thought you guys are already sort of making strides in online, so we really focused on in-store. As well as we focus on millennial customers. We focus relatively more on the tier 1, tier 2 experience, although we visited all 3 stores. So our methodology for doing this involved visiting stores across all 3 Better Vision tiers. So we visited a couple in each of the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, as well as a large number of Thai competitors, and interviewed over 50 Thai customers of eyeglasses, which we did both at Better Vision stores as well as walking around malls and other locations in Thailand to get customers that might not necessarily be Better Vision customers right now. And we interviewed a range of customers, but most were millennial consumers, so really focused on the younger customer demographic. We also, while we were in the United States, visited some US eyeglass retailers and talked to customers there to get a sense of how things might be different in the United States versus Thailand and see what incentives we bring. And this is just a quick sort of grounding on the process we use and that we're encouraged to use by our school in thinking about developing solutions for new customer types. It's called design thinking, and it's really a customer-centric way of thinking about problems and solutions for potential customers. So the first step of the process really involves observing customers and talking to them and getting a sense of their mentality and how they operate. So watching customers in store, talking to them as they go through the process or after they go through the process. What do they like about it? What was difficult about it? What things do they wish they're different? To really get a sense of how the customer thinks. The second part of the process is around ideating or brainstorming ideas. So once we have an understanding of the customer, what solutions can we develop that might be appealing to that customer base, and in this case, the millennial customer base. This process really involves coming up with as many ideas as possible and then narrowing down to the ideas that are most attractive. And then the last part of the process involves experimenting, so testing with customers whether they would be interested in the ideas that we've come up with. I would say, given our unfortunately very short time in Thailand, we did a little bit less of the experimenting part than we might have had we had a longer stay here. But we definitely have some thoughts on further experiments that we think Better Vision can run. I think we should do so. I'll pause here before handing things off to Skip. Any questions on how design thinking works or our approach we've taken longer? All right, well now Smitha will walk us through some of the insights we've heard from Thai customers.
Thanks, Andrew. So you've heard about some of the conversations that we've had with Thai customers. And so from those conversations, we sort of started to understand what the customer purchasing journey looks like and how that then maps on to Better Vision's revenue formula. So we think there's actually 4 things that Better Vision needs to do really well to attract and retain lifelong customers. And we think that Better Vision is doing a number of those things really well. So the first step is actually attracting customers to come into the store. And we want as many customers to actually visit Better Vision stores. And then the second step is to actually convert those customers into making a purchase. From our conversations with store managers, we've actually heard that about 60% of customers who walk into a Better Vision store end up making a purchase. And that's incredible. We think that's because of the friendly service that customers receive when they come inside Better Vision stores. And we were very impressed by that, as were Better Vision customers. The next step is upselling customers. So customers, we've heard, often come into the store with a range of budget in mind. And so this part of the funnel involves making sure that customers are kind of spending the higher end of that range when they make a purchase at Better Vision. And then the final step is actually really crucial to this entire funnel, and that is retaining customers. And that's something that Better Vision does very, very well. So we heard from different store managers that about 75% of the customers that come into the store are actually repeat customers. So that's something Better Vision is doing really well. And for that reason, we thought the best place we could focus was on that top part of the funnel, in attracting more customers. We think Better Vision is a really unique place, and a lot of things that differentiate the store, including great service, really high quality eye exams, are things that the customer can only find out after they come in the store. And so our question was, how can we improve our tactics to actually attract millennial customers? So we came up with a number of insights that we heard from particularly millennial customers, but these were also echoed by other customers across the age spectrum. We've distilled a couple of key insights here, but we have a list of other insights that we found as well that we're happy to walk through. The first of those insights was that when you walk into a shopping mall and there are 4 or 5 different stores, visually it can be difficult to choose among those stores. So the key insight, and here's a quote from an actual customer, stores carry the same products, offer similar service, and overall seem interchangeable from the outside. So our question was, can we actually help create a differentiated experience that draws millennial customers into the store? So then the second insight was, once customers walk into the store, there are 500 to 800 different SKUs per store, and it can be difficult for a customer to actually narrow those down into the 4 or 5 glasses that they actually really like. So our question from this was, can we actually offer a service that helps customers narrow down their options from 500 to 800 per store to the 4 or 5 that they really like? The next key insight that we found is that in this industry, customers have come to expect promotions from different retailers. We know that sometimes we've heard from store managers that competing on price can be difficult, that it can erode margins. And so the question that we wanted to ask is, can we actually take this expectation and create value with our promotions? So from these 3 key insights, the 3 being that stores are difficult visually to differentiate among, and the second, that it's difficult for customers to narrow down SKUs, and third, that customers have come to expect promotions from the industry, we designed a kind of strategy statement that we think could help differentiate Better Vision. So it's written here, and I can just walk you through it. So we wanted to create a fun, digitally enhanced, interactive experience that will stimulate the senses and better differentiate Better Vision from its competitors. So now I'm going to hand it off to Colton to walk you through our lead idea.
Thank you and good morning. I'm going to take us to the future, so I would like for us all to try to imagine a new experience for Better Vision. This is a 4-step process. I'm happy to take questions along the way, but just for a minute, imagine you're walking into a Better Vision store and you've never been to Better Vision or Hoenn before. Imagine you walk in and you're presented with a tablet or an iPad from the sales associate, and they describe how you can input your preferences into this tablet. We have a few key categories of how to filter the number of frames that customers might be interested in down to what's uniquely suited for them. We heard that many millennial customers have a particular look or a style that they're looking for, and they just need some help curating the list of options that are best for them. You can see that we have a number of inputs in terms of the style that the customer has in mind, the shape of their face, the shape of the frame, and even the price point that they're looking for. Importantly, in this step of the process, we also want to capture the customer's contact information, their name, and hopefully some of their social media information as well. This is going to enable not only the ability for Better Vision to contact this customer later in the life cycle, but it's also going to allow them to aggregate data of consumer preferences across a large number of customers, and you'll be better equipped to manage inventory and to even design new frames that will resonate with this target consumer. Any questions on this first step of the process? Excellent. Now the next step of the process, imagine a wall of frames displayed, and once the consumer has input their preferences, there are LED lights embedded within the display case that illuminate pairs of glasses that fit the preferences of the consumer. You begin with a large number of options, and then as the consumer is able to try them on, they can extinguish the light of the ones that they no longer are interested in. So this is a quick and easy way for consumers to get the product on their face, see how it looks, and then keep track of the choices that are right for them. Importantly, we think this is also an opportunity. On the tablet or the iPad, we'd like to present images of celebrities who have accomplished a similar look to what the target consumer is looking for. This is going to inspire them to complete the purchase. We also think there's an opportunity perhaps to explore targeted advertising, or even to show pictures of customers who have purchased the iframes before and the fact that they are satisfied customers. There's a wide range of opportunities here to continue to inspire the customer. Questions on this part of the process? Okay, great. The third step would be for once the consumer has a few frames that they're most excited about, we would like for them to have the opportunity to take a professional portrait, a high-quality picture of the frames that they're wearing. And this is important because it provides the customer with a token of value. They can now see how good they look in the frames, and they have this photo, and it's going to make them more likely to purchase the frames at the end. The final step of the process, we send that photo to the customer, preferably through a social media channel. And of course, we have a Better Vision branding embedded within the photo. And we offer the customer a small discount if they post this photo to a social media channel and talk about how great their experience was at Better Vision. We know that discounting can be difficult. It's not our favorite strategy. If not managed well, of course, it can erode margins. But if you offer just a small discount, you're able to extract value by attracting more customers through the social media network of these millennial consumers. You may not even have to offer a price discount. You could offer a warranty. There are other valuable options that would induce the customer to share this experience with their friends. This is the essence of our concept, and we would like to offer the opportunity to answer any questions or elaborate.
How do you choose the one that you take video?
How do you choose the photographer?
No, to the person that take the video, take the person back.
So the customer would be the one to have the photo taken. We could have one of these sales associates in Better Vision to actually take the picture. You may also be able to establish this where the consumer can actually take the picture themselves. There are a number of options for this. questions? Thank you for asking. We were able to test this idea with about 20 millennial consumers in the mall yesterday. And as you can imagine, this is a difficult concept to communicate, particularly for Thai eyeglass wearers who do not speak English. We did have a translator, and we did our best, and we received positive feedback. Most of the positive reviews found this to be an exciting and a novel experience that they could not find anywhere else. There were a few that were not as excited, and they questioned whether this was purely a novelty or whether this was really a helpful experience that's going to make the buying process more efficient. On the whole, we found that millennials were very excited about the idea and wanted to learn more. Finally, we have some thoughts. If you are willing to move forward, we would recommend testing the idea on a smaller scale. You could perhaps select a single store and a single display case, perhaps 80 private label frames, and install an experience like this to learn more about if it resonates with the consumer. We have here a number of questions that you'll want to validate. And we have a number of ways to set up this test to be inexpensive and easy to manage. You may not even need to install lighting to be able to learn about the customer's experience. You could simply use a numbering system for each one of the frames, and based on preferences, the consumer would know which numbers of frames correspond to their inputs. You could ask one sales associate to get familiar with this process and test for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then iterate and improve the experience as you learn. Any further questions before we go to the next part of the presentation? Thank you very much.
So taking a step back, we wanted to ask what has worked very well for competitors abroad as well as in the local market, and how can better vision, how does our idea really embed in that broader context, because we want to make sure that what we are doing is relevant in the current competitive landscape. So before we came here, given we only had a week in Thailand, we wanted to spend our time really understanding what has worked well in America and what local stores are doing there that could perhaps be implemented in Thailand. We have a store in America, it's called Warby Parker, and it really has had phenomenal success. We spend a lot of time visiting Warby Parker, speaking to local customers, and trying to understand the essence of what has driven their growth over the past years. We found that what they have done very successfully is that they created a simple brand that was centered around trendiness, around attracting young people, and around at the same time being very, very profitable for the store. So it was very sustainable. And we saw that they achieved this with a uniform look across stores. Any Warby Parker store you walk into, you get a very similar experience in terms of store layout and also in terms of just expertise from the sales staff. They only have their own in-house glasses, and through that, they're able to achieve much more attractive economics, given as you're seeing yourself from your glasses, when you're selling in-house brands, you achieve a much higher margin because you don't have to pay any sort of licensing fees or agreements to whatever brands provide the glasses. And so we asked ourselves, are there any competitors in the local market who achieve a similarly uniform brand that consumers know exactly what it stands for and that at the same time seem to have done very well? And as you probably know, the suspect that came up was Owndays. We visited Owndays and we were very impressed with what they have done in terms of very quickly building up a base of consumers that seem to be very enthusiastic followers. We spoke to some Owndays customers and we asked them, you know, if you had to buy glasses again, like where did you buy them? And if they said Owndays, we asked, you go they said, yes, absolutely, we will go back to own days. So we tried to understand what is it that drives this enthusiasm and how can Better Vision do the same thing and capture some of these customers that really share that excitement of wanting to buy eyeglasses from a particular brand. And it's actually, what Owndays is doing is not that special, right? It's a bunch of, I don't know if you've been to the stores, but it's a bunch of young people wearing hoodies. They don't, from our limited survey, it doesn't seem that they nearly have the same expertise in optometrics that Better Vision does. Better Vision's expertise in doing the actual analysis is absolutely unparalleled. So how is it then that there's so many people who are excited about Owndays? What we saw is that Owndays, similarly to what we had observed with Warby Parker in America, has this very uniform way of drawing people in. So when we visited the Tier 3 store for Better Vision, there was in the same building, there was an Owndays store that looked beautiful and that was very, very well put together, even though it was a Type 3 area. That made us think that they have this brand uniformity that we see in Warby Parker. They have that brand uniformity even in areas that we consider Type 3. And we thought that that might really help them with achieving a certain type of image that is attractive to the customer. Because the customer, even if they're a Type 1 customer, they might still be spending time in Type 3. They might still be seeing stores and having certain associations. The other thing that we saw that Owndays does is that they only had their own brands. And through that, similarly to Better Vision carrying their own brands, Owndays, by carrying its own brands, was able to charge a much higher margin. And that just generally seems to be a strategy that works very well. And we contrasted that a little bit to what Modern Optical does. Honestly, Modern Optical, we just picked them. They didn't seem that differentiated from some of the other competitors. Honestly, visiting Modern Optical made us feel very positive about Better Vision. There just seems to be a general theme of, promotions, discounts, some of the themes that we touched on earlier. But really, we took all of that to test it against our idea, and we feel that what we saw in the local market, in terms of people really caring for a uniform, special experience that's consistent across, we felt that if in, for example, all of our Tier 2 stores, we started implementing this idea with the light-up system, it will be something very special. It will be something that will be identified with Better Vision. That people, when they talk about Better Vision, they will talk about this cool light-up design in the store, and it would be very, very special. It would work to attract people. And then once people were there, there's so much you guys can do in terms of really selling the expertise that you have, because the expertise that you have is unparalleled. When we saw other competitors, be it Owndays, be it Modern Optical, be it any of the others, they don't have that same expertise in really administering these things. Now, other than our main key idea, we did a lot of time, we spent a lot of time thinking through a bunch of other ideas. We wanted to provide them. There have been a lot more context in the appendix that we have handed out where we describe them. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's going to take too much time, but just briefly, the ideas we had, they were centered around the aspects of attract, convert, upsell, and retain. Some of the ideas that we were most excited about was on attraction, this concept that it's really about bringing people into the store, and that once they're in the store, they can see how well you're doing everything. So we were thinking, given that you're offering free eyeglass clinic, for example, on the one hand we want to be careful because we've seen from talking to customers that they're very wary of pushy sales tactics. But we were thinking if you had somebody stand outside of your stores and said, oh, free professional eyeglasses clinic, and then have people come into the store for a free cleaning, as you're already offering, if you just mention it a little bit more, we thought that could serve to attract customers. We also thought that your sales staff, given that excellent service is one of your hallmarks, you could create a system where customers rated the level of service they receive from, say, 1 through 5, and then your sales staff at the store would get an aggregate score for how well they're doing in terms of service, and then you could almost have like a local mini competition among stores, where each of the stores were working very hard to get like a top quality in terms of sales. There's a bunch of different ideas. There's more ideas in the appendix. We don't want to take up your time in running through all of them, so if you want to turn to questions. But
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, the Warby Parker store publishes more or less online business, and they use the store as the flagship store, either, or they just use it as a normal business.
Yeah, that's correct. So you can go to a Warby Parker store, like a flagship store, to try on the glasses, and you can buy there if you so choose. But it's also like a very online business. So their core model is you can go online, you can select multiple frames you're interested in buying, and then they'll ship, I think, up to 5 frames to you to try on, and you'll pick the one you like, and then return all of the rest. So that's kind of the core of the Warby Parker model. But they also have quite a few stores that are very instrumental in driving the brand. So there's one, for example, right here where we live in Boston. Has a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic coming in. Has staff that will walk you through the glasses options, similar to another optical store. So you're right that it's a very online model, but they also use these stores as a big part of their way to serve customers.
How many stores nationwide?
Nationwide, I don't think it's that many.
there might be about like
That's good.
They would be just concentrated in 50-ish sounds like the right order of magnitude. They would be concentrated in bigger cities. So you would see it in Boston, you would see it in New York. You wouldn't see it out in the suburbs. So that would be, they would use it kind of as a flagship, like you say, in the cities, and then the more suburban or rural customers, they would serve through their online channel.
Yeah, and also like, some of that drove us to think that some of the secret sauce really lies in that blending of the online and the offline. When we spoke to a lot of customers here, it seemed like they had a lot of interest in being able to browse online, but then also wanting to try them on. So one of our ideas is that if you were able to create an online experience where people browsed for glasses they like, and we're then able to like select them and ship them, or like just make sure that they're available in a given location, so that they could then go to that location and have them ready, and somebody could say, oh, like here's the 5 glasses that you picked online, and then customers could try them on and buy them. So that blending between online and offline, that Warby to some extent does in their stores. I think that works very well for people because a lot of people like to physically try on the product.
Well, besides the perspective of marketing and attracting the people to get into the store, I think the biggest more part of Warby Parker should be coming from online. I mean, the chunk of the business should come from.
So I can speak to that. I'll just stand up out of the corner.
Maybe you should all come.
Yeah,
This is
maybe all
the
come.
part of
Straight up.
commissioners. We want to answer questions. We wanted to think all of you. Like it's been a really wonderful. Tall has been absolutely wonderful. She's really shown us a very special time.
Okay.
This is also episode 12. But yeah,
So just for Warby Parker in particular, I actually went and shopped at Warby Parker right before I came because I needed some new glasses. And one of the keys with that experience was I had not gone online beforehand. I simply walked into the store and then explored the entire store, so walking around the different glasses areas, and I was able to choose my glasses. It was all done digitally, so they used an iPad. I signed in when I got there, and they input my eyeglasses information, the type of final glasses that I chose, and then they shipped it out the next week to actually send me the glasses. So it's a completely digital experience, and you're able to go into the store and look all across all the different glasses immediately and order on the spot.
I mean, you can purchase the eyeglass offline. I mean, on the site.
I think one thing that Better Vision has that Warby Parker doesn't is the ability to satisfy that need in real time. So Warby Parker will ship those glasses to you, and it might take 5 to 7 days. Whereas we've heard from some of the Better Vision stores that if they have the inventory on site, they can actually satisfy that request in an hour or so. Like cut the lens, have everything ready. So that's actually, I think, a competitive advantage that Better Vision would have, even relative to Warby Parker.
Well, as compared to own day, where the strong message for the customer is 20 minutes ready. Is that have any impact on the potential buyer?
Yeah, so some of the customers we spoke to were really excited about that quick turnaround. And what we've heard from the staff at Better Vision is that turnaround is possible in Better Vision stores already. And it's something where you could likely compete directly with Own Days by offering that type of guarantee and potentially expand from simply doing a single vision lens to some of the more complex lens types where Better Vision excels over an Own Days. So being able to expand that offering is something that we think would be very attractive to a millennial consumer or to other older consumers that might need more progressive lenses.
And I think something sort of a secondary idea we came up with that could also help with this is we talked to some consumers who are very interested in an enhanced message system. So a lot of people buy glasses while they're shopping at the mall, as you know. So if you were able to go in, sort of get everything set up, and then you can go around the mall and shop, and then you message by Better Vision when everything's ready, and then come back to the store. We think that's probably an idea worth considering an enhanced system there.
Well, as an old smile people who use the spectacle, we think that the spectacle is a craftsmanship product.
Sure.
We need to have something. We don't really appreciate the fast finished product. We think that it's more. You need to have more time to pay more attention to putting one piece of the spectacle.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And I think the one reason why we think that Better Vision is well suited to even offer that quick service in store is because of the reputation that Better Vision stores have for their ability to perform high quality eye exams and really do the top-notch job for the consumer versus in Own Days where the staff maybe seems less, competent in terms of their knowledge of the optical needs of a consumer.
How do you compare what we market with the Own Days? Is it similar?
So that it really struck us that it was extremely similar. It's very, to the extent that Edward and I visited Own Days and spent a bit of time there, the details in the layout were such that we almost thought that one must have copied the other. We don't know which way, but it's very, very similar. And it's really a model, this concept of laying out stores that look similar and that are unique enough that people remember that. That really tends to build brand loyalty and drive sales. One thing that they do that's really special is that they have a little machine in the store that produces a specific smell, and then they have that smell in every single store. Now, we know from science, right, that smell is a really powerful way to access your brain and access memory. So anytime people walk into the store, they would have the specific Own Days memory. Now, it's a huge competitive, on the one hand, it's great they're doing that, but what you have in terms of expertise of optometrics, especially given the shortage of optometricians in Thailand, that's a much bigger advantage. What the Own Day does right now, it works really well, but it's actually not that difficult to replicate. All you need is something truly unique in your store, which is why with our idea we were trying to focus on something that's really special.
And I think the one thing I would add to that is that it's a little bit different between the two. Is I think the optometrists in the Warby Parker stores in the U.S. are a little more professional feeling. The ones in Own Days, you walk in, they're very young, generally wearing sneakers, they're wearing hoodies. That we thought was a very stark difference certainly from Better Vision, think that's one thing, that's the biggest thing to me that came to mind that was very different about Owndays.
And the other thing is just, like we mentioned, the inventory management is very different from the back end. So the way Warby Parker manages their inventory and sends out in 5 days is different from this 20-minute turnaround.
According to your survey, how do you differentiate between better vision and Owndays?
Yeah,
Any good or bad?
I think what we would say positive about Owndays is that it's very sort of trendy and hip. So I think that a certain, like, a customer looking for a certain style would probably be attracted to Owndays for that style. And I actually think that is very similar to the trendiness that Warby Parker has developed in the US market. I think Better Vision is more, I think, as we've discussed multiple times, a sort of professional, like, optometrists. You might trust them more for kind of your specific optical needs, and probably a greater range of sort of glasses types than Owndays, which feels like a more specific one, if that makes sense.
And the last point is the consistency of the brand image that we talked about with Owndays. Better Vision, we talked to consumers who only understood the brand as How-In and not Better Vision. And the differences in the store experience across the tiers was very noticeable. So I think it could be an interesting idea to analyze if you were able to have a more unified brand experience, would that improve customer attraction?
I have another question. In the United States, there's another chain store called Lancaster. How is that chain store being affected by the Warby Parker?
We did visit a lens crafter. It's a dramatically different experience. We could not observe an effective response to Warby Parker. They continue to maintain an overwhelming display of frames that are not curated. The environment is very sterile. It feels more like a doctor's office than a retail store. And so we were not impressed with their response.
I think the one other key difference between the US and the Thai market is in the US, you are required to see an optometrist. So you don't need to just see an optician, which is one of the offerings that Owndays has that Warby Parker doesn't. So for a lot of customers that we spoke to that had gone to lens crafters, it was simply about convenience. So you go in, get your eyes tested, and you can walk out in an hour. And for a lot of people, that was very appealing. We think that there's a range, as I'm sure you know, a range of consumers from the fashion, trendy, to the very practical, convenience-driven consumer. So someone that's wants that 1 hour turnaround, just needs very simple, standard glasses, versus someone that goes and shops at 6 different stores across years, maybe trying to find that one pair that really fits them.
So you have all these in stores, right? Optometrists in store every.
Not in. Sorry, there are no optometrists in Warby Parker, but in lens crafters, every single one has an optometrist.
Well, from your observation and survey, do you think we have any unique selling proposition or retail proposition in the market?
We think one of the underutilized assets is the insurance program that you offer. We did not see it promoted very heavily. We only saw minimal signage. And I think this is fairly unique. We did not hear about this in competitor stores. The warranty program is also very attractive, the 1-year warranty.
Were you able to differentiate Better Vision stores among the rest of the brick and mortar stores?
I think the one thing that we tried to bring out, but maybe needed to illuminate more, is the sales staff. Like we said, a lot of the stores from the front are very undifferentiated. You see an optical store, you see the eyeglass in the back, but the sales staff was really a resource that we thought could have been more utilized because of the quality of the sales staff that we interacted with, at least when we were going through stores. So sometimes, especially during the lower peak times, they would be in the back working on inventory or communicating with customers via line or other platforms. But we thought that that was an opportunity for them to be at the front of the store and inviting people in for a professional cleaning. So, from that 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. slot when there's few customers, why not have a sign in the front that says, come on in and have a free cleaning? And one of the things that really was important about that was the opportunity to have someone come in the store, take off their glasses, and be forced, effectively, or maybe encouraged, to look at the other glasses in the store and see what's out there in terms of sunglasses or eyeglasses. So we thought that was a really unique opportunity, and also they have the opportunity to actually speak with a qualified professional salesperson that can really help direct them throughout that store.
So are you guys suggesting that Better Vision should adopt a disruption model, or should we stay and in this particular segment and develop or enhance our propositions in the market?
I think you continue to do what you're doing so well. You just need a unique element of the experience to attract people and differentiate the store to a passerby. Once people are in Better Vision, they recognize the service and the quality. They understand that. It's just a matter of getting them to the store for the first time. And if you can create a groundswell of excitement about a brand new experience, that might be enough to attract them, and then you will win them over with your conversion and upselling expertise.
And that's kind of the in-store experience. We think you have the competitive advantage. It just needs to be emphasized more, and maybe consistency of brand image. I would say we do think, though, that the future is a more omni-channel experience, and we know that you are already investing in that online platform. So to the degree that your online presence can complement and reinforce your physical presence, we think that that's the winning strategy.
Another point that I would like to ask is that if you notice several Better Vision stores having different decoration and different outlook, is that matter, or is that something to improve? Or?
I think it would be beneficial to be more consistent, because you will have some consumers who may see Better Vision at a Tier 3 location and be confused to see a Tier 1 location. If there's a more consistent experience, I believe you'll attract more customers to the store.
Yeah, so just maybe in terms of an example, when we were in a Tier 3 location, we saw a customer who walked in, who clearly was a profile of a Tier 1 customer. Like, he was very well dressed, and we had a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses, in his hair. So that's somebody that, just looking at him, I didn't think of him as a Tier 3 customer. He spent about 45 seconds in your store, and then he left. This is in the same mall where even though it was a Tier 3 location for you, there was also an Own Days store in that same building, and the Own Days store looked really, really good. So a customer like this, I think it's probably a lost customer, because he had that experience that wasn't phenomenal in your store, and then at the same time probably saw an Own Days store that looked really good, right? So on the one hand, we understand that there's different segments in the population, and you're serving them with your different tiers, but we think that maybe the differentiation and the serving of these different customers, maybe you don't do that in terms of laying out your store differently. Maybe you have a similar looking store that is equally beautiful and appealing no matter where you are, because any store is an ambassador for your brand. You can then lay out, maybe you can have different product offerings in these different stores, right? In Tier 3 locations, you might carry inventory that is more tailored towards these lower end of the segment customers. But the store experience, in terms of the wow effect, when a customer walks in, we feel it would be advantageous if that were uniform in all of your stores.
And we will say, we really liked the new store concept in the Tier 2 locations. That we were very impressed when we saw that. So I think, if that's a really strong look, and if that were more consistent across some of the stores, we think that would be successful.
Recognizing, of course, the expense and the capital expenditure to retrofit these stores, there may still be less expensive ways to create a more consistent experience. One example would be At our Tier 2 store, we noticed a very professional looking white coat for all of the men who were opticians. And then the women were in a very nice suit. At the Tier 3 location, there were just collared golf shirts worn by the associates. It might not be terribly expensive to just have a uniform look for all the staff.
We're happy to go through other areas if you guys have other, questions or things that you'd like us to walk through. We have really enjoyed this conversation, so happy to keep going on any path that would be interesting to you all.
Well, I still have not been clear in my mind about the presentation of Warby Parker, because to my knowledge, the core business is coming from online. And if they emphasize on setting up the shop, the physical shop, does that mean the online business for class not really working out?
I was with Jason when we visited Warby Parker, and I was surprised to learn that the fit of the glasses has a lot to do with the way that you look wearing them. And we talked to some US consumers who were not satisfied with the pure online model because they didn't realize that the fit or the material was the way that it was until they actually received the glasses. There's a significant percentage of consumers, we think, who appreciate being able to touch, feel, and try on the glasses, along with a knowledgeable sales associate who told Jason, this is how far apart your eyes are, this is how the glasses should rest on your nose, and those are important distinctions for the fit of the frame.
And I think, just to make sure we're clear, we think the online part of Warby Parker is working for many customers. Many customers do purchase the glasses online and are very satisfied with the experience. I think it's just a question of, are you better off as an exclusively online experience? Or are you better off as something omni-channel where you blend online and physical assets? And we think Warby Parker's come to the conclusion that they're better off if they have a big online business that's complemented with an in-store experience as well. And I think we could very easily see a similar trajectory at the time.
From your study, do you think how many percent of the millennial customers satisfying purchasing eyeglasses just purely online? Means that they just pick, choose, done every process online, receive the purchase, everything, without visiting any of the optical stores?
So, are you speaking in Thai or US? We can talk to both. Or
If you have information from both sides,
Sure.
happy to hear.
So I think